So hello and welcome to the 14th day of the One Health Awareness Month. So today is part 2 of food security. Yesterday I talked a little bit about African swine fever, and I had also posted some links on some additional information and videos and news reports. And it was about food security, but it was a rather broad topic. Well, today again is going to be broad. However, I'm really going to talk about some areas that just about all of us can contribute to, hopefully positively, but we can contribute to keep our food security safe. So, unfortunately, usually when we hear about food security, we don't talk about it in the broad text that it actually is. We think about things like farms. It could be huge farms, with hundreds of thousands of animals, like factory farms, or it could be something as small as some backyard chickens or a couple goats, but we don't talk about it commonly out of that context. But food security also involves other areas. Food security can be crops, doesn't necessarily have to be animals. It can be things like hunting and fishing, because again, those are also food sources. So what do we do to keep those things safe too? It's not just about the farms, but other things that we eat, like I said, agriculture, other crop cultures, as well as wildlife. So today, I'm going to talk more about food security in a much more broad term, because I do believe this is something all of us can contribute to positively. So that's going to be my focus for today's One Health Awareness talk on food security. So I kind of hit a little bit yesterday on the importance of, when we come into the country, how things are confiscated that are meat product. And this is really important. And I had discussed yesterday about African swine fever, that actually the curing process and cooking process doesn't always kill that virus. So the concern is bringing that virus here into the United States, because currently we do not have not had any confirmation of African swine fever in this country. So we definitely don't want to bring it in here. But that's another form of a profession. It works under the One Health umbrella. So the people that do inspections at our borders, at our airports, the ones that inspect our food processing facilities, our conservation officers, those are all people that work also under that One Health umbrella, because they're helping to keep our food secure in different forms. So when you're traveling overseas, you definitely need to make sure that, one, you're not bringing in something that you shouldn't be bringing in. You should double check with the airport, with TSA, before you go ahead and even transport that item to the airport. And two, that you report it. So when you leave the country and you come back in, you commonly have a little sheet that you fill out that you're declaring what you have. So it's not just about money, but it's also declaring what items you have that could be contaminated, as well as any foodstuff products. So when you do that, you help to make sure that we're not bringing something into the United States, like African swine fever, that we don't have here. It also can help to keep out things like invasive species. So something that we don't have in the United States, it could be an insect, it could be a type of plant, or some sort of seeds that we don't want in here and prospering, that may take over our natural environment. We definitely don't want that, okay? So that's one way, is making sure that when you travel outside the country, that you double check with TSA to make sure that you're not bringing anything in. It could obviously it could affect our food security, but that you're also making sure that you're reporting what you have with you, so they can let you know if it's something you weren't aware of, that you cannot bring in. It could possibly be detrimental to our food security in the United States. So we are aware of some other things with hunting and fishing. So hunting, there are certain guidelines with hunting and fishing that are set in place. It's not just to make things more unpleasant, but it's really focused on the fact of trying to keep our different herds, our flocks, and our various other various other animals safe, so that we can safely and responsibly harvest those animals, so we don't negatively impact those animals. So one of the things that keeps coming up, especially in the last, I would say 1 to 2 years, definitely, has been concerns about baiting with chronic wasting disease. So the concern is that when you put out bait, you are creating a natural unnatural environment. So typically deer would not feed in very high concentrations. They would spread out slightly. And if you've watched them eat in different fields, you'd see they're not all on top of each other on a pile of food. They are spread out. When you have an environment that you're creating like that that's unnatural, you're creating an environment that they would be touching noses or possibly come in contact with different body fluids that they typically may not come in contact with, and they're spreading diseases like chronic wasting or CWD. So what different states, municipalities have done as a result is to say, okay, well, we need to try to keep our deer herds as healthy as possible, so we're going to ban baiting. We're going to eliminate that possible way of spreading a disease. We want to keep food security safe, so we're going to get rid of that aspect. Okay, so there's another example with hunting and fishing. Well, what about camping? You think of, well, what does camping have to do? If I'm not hunting or fishing, what could possibly camping have to do with food security? Well, you can carry different invasive species back with you when you're traveling from one area of even the same state, from one area of the state to another outside the state. So one example, if you live in Michigan, then you've heard of the emerald ash borer beetle. And this has become a big problem, has killed off ash trees all over the state of Michigan. And what the state had done was to say, okay, the Department of Natural Resources, you cannot move campfire wood from one area of the state to another. If it's an area that's been declared beetle free, you cannot relocate that wood from one area of the state to another. That's trying to keep out an invasive species. Okay, that's the point, is so that doesn't, because that is not a naturally occurring beetle to Michigan. It's actually Asian. So what we're trying to do is keep it out of Michigan, because it tends to prosper very well here, unfortunately, and has killed off quite a few of our trees. So that's another example. So all these examples here, the point is that food security needs to be thought of outside of just farms. If you hunt, if you fish, if you camp, if you travel outside the country, if you visit people that have livestock, okay? If you go to fairs, like the county fairs, and you go to visit the livestock animals, you have an opportunity to keep food security safe. These are all examples that we can positively contribute, especially under the One Health umbrella, to keep our food stuff safe. So make sure that you follow, and I'm going to put this at the top here, make sure that of the list, make sure you follow whatever guidelines where you're at, whether it's hunting and fishing, state laws and guidelines, whether it's the making sure that you declare when you travel back into the country what you have on you, not just food related, but clothing that can possibly carry disease, or whether it's you're at a county fair and you see signs up to make sure you're using hand sanitizer and to wash your hands. These are all guidelines that are safe to keep food security, to keep our food safe. So now I've talked about what we all can do. And there, like I said, we can all contribute in a positive manner. Now I'm going to narrow this down for just a second here. So I'm going to talk for just a second about biosecurity in relation to food security for people that have either backyard poultry, maybe have a goat or two. So I'm not talking about the very large farms. I'm talking about much smaller. Now, a few years ago, I had taught a class on poultry biosecurity, and that was an hour-long class. So I'm obviously not going to go into detail. I will be recording something in the future and posting it on bird biosecurity, but I'm not going to go as in great detail as I would during that class. However, there's something really important to keep in mind here, and I actually have in one of my links up here, you actually will find things about poultry biosecurity, but there's one big concept to keep in mind. Inside your poultry area is considered clean. Now, you might be thinking, you haven't seen many chickens if you think they're clean. But bear with me for just a minute here. So inside the poultry area is clean. Outside is considered dirty. So what is it I mean by that? That means the birds that you have are not considered to have disease. Okay, so we're going to consider that a clean zone. So anything you bring in from the outside has a potential to contaminate your area where your chickens are at. So this could be on boots, on tennis shoes, on clothing, on feed bags, on undercarriage or of your vehicle or tires, or maybe if you use a dolly or hand truck or tractor or something to transport feed, it could be on that. Shovels for cleaning out your poultry areas. I mean, anything you're having to bring from the outside in is a potential to contaminate your chickens, okay, your chicken area. So the one thing, if I could say to pull from anything that is talking about food security, is talking about One Health on what you can do, I would tell you that be very aware of what you bring into your livestock areas. Don't be flippant about it. Make sure that you're wearing clothes or shoes that you only wear into those areas. So don't wear clothes and shoes that you wear outside, like when you go shopping or when you're working. Change your clothes and use clothes that you only wear inside the areas. When you're buying feed at your local feed store, don't bring those feed bags into those clean areas. Okay? Because keep in mind, feed stores commonly what? They deliver to other farms. So they're using equipment in other places. They have people that may be going on the farms and coming back to the store. Sometimes you go into some of them and they have birds flying around freely. So those are not clean. So you want to make sure one option would be taking your feed bags and dumping the feed into a container. That would be like a neutral location, but the bags never go into those poultry or those livestock areas of any kind. Be aware of whatever equipment you're using. Don't lend stuff out. If you can help it, do not lend things out or borrow from others if you can. If you don't have a choice, then make sure before it comes into your clean area, in your poultry area, make sure that you thoroughly clean that equipment, that you disinfect it. Be very thorough. Get under it and in between things and scrub to make sure that you are not possibly bringing something onto your farm that wasn't there, especially wasn't there before. So just be very aware of what you are bringing onto your farm. Be very aware of what you're bringing into your clean areas, so the areas where your livestock is kept, so that you're not bringing in disease to where your goats, your chickens, your turkeys, whatever that you're raising, to keep your food supply safe at your home. So basically, to recap on this part 2 day, today's One Health awareness topic was on food security, but I really wanted to broadly get you guys thinking about what do we call food security and how One Health contributes to that, and that we all can contribute positively to the health of our community, whether you're a hunter, a fisherman, a camper, backyard gardener, and doesn't have to have poultry in it, but a backyard or animals, but a backyard gardener. What can we do to keep our food safe, our food supply safe? And I hope that this has helped you to think about those things. So don't forget to check out the links up here. Stay tuned to tomorrow, which would be our day 15 of the One Health Awareness Month. And please don't forget, you can put your questions, comments, and everything down here too. This would be great to get a conversation going about this topic. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you.